I wanted to make this video about my trip to Agadir. It was the first time me visiting Morocco, and I decided to film a vlog, record all my experiences and what I was doing, all my activities, and I wanted to make a video about it, talking about my time there and the amazing time that I had. I wasn't sure what to expect in Morocco, but it ended up being a really relaxing holiday, and it's been a while since I've taken a holiday as well. So it was super relaxing, really calm, chilled out vibe. I ate a lot, had some great food, and did a few activities as well, just to keep my body active, my mind active. So I travelled with my wife from Stanstead Airport. Stanstead, I've had a bit of trouble with it in the past. It's been a bit busy, it's been a bit crazy. So I decided to get the fast boarding pass, which was a godsend. So we were able to skip past the queues and make it through security pretty reasonably. I did have a few things in my bag that they wanted to stop me about, so it was an intelligent decision to carry around my razor blade. Now, before you assume anything, I didn't have any razors on me, but the very fact that I did have a razor blade carrier was enough for the security to stop and check it. So kudos to them, they're doing their job, but yeah, it just took me a little bit longer than I anticipated. Anyway, the airport was very busy. Traveling in the summer, it is bound to be. So every airport, I normally try and find a prayer room to pray. But generally, every airport I visit, I try to find a room to pray in, and Stanstead did have a prayer room, which is amazing, so I was really pleased about that. Unfortunately, one of the toilets were closed, so before we pray, we generally wash and then we ready to pray. One of the bathrooms was closed, so I had to make a bit of a trip all the way around the airport to find a bathroom and get back to the prayer room. So it wasn't too much of an issue, but it just took me around a bit of a trip around Stanstead Airport. Had a nice tour of the airport. So we were really excited, waiting for our flight. Got slightly delayed, but we were able to board after about 30 minutes of waiting. And the flight was really easy, really smooth, not so much trouble on the plane. Sometimes when you go and take a flight and it's in the summer and everyone's really hyped up about going for the holiday, you get a few interesting characters. But I think the cabin crew were able to calm everyone down. They played very rather calming, relaxing music to just wind everyone down a little bit. And most people took a bit of a snooze. And I don't think there was too much alcohol on the flight either, which really helped. So we got to Agadir, and I had a driver waiting for us to take us from the airport to the hotel. A lovely fella by the name of Aziz. He was amazing. So whenever I get to a new place or go to a new city or new country, I always like to quiz the locals about where to go, where to eat, where to visit, what are the hot spots, where are the quiet places, and where do they like to go, where do they spend most of their time. He was a little bit reticent about giving me, his favourite place to eat. I think he didn't really know how to answer the question. Luckily, he spoke really good English, but he taught me that, in Morocco, they do have a local language that they speak. That's not Arabic. They do speak Arabic, obviously. They learn French at school as well, it being previously a French colony, that makes sense. And they do speak a bit of English as well. The tourists they get are mainly from Europe, lots of Germans and lots of French, naturally. So they do get a few Brits going there as well. So the hotel we stayed at was called the Odyssey Park Hotel. Lovely hotel. Main reason I picked it was it was close to the beach. Whenever I like to go on holiday, I do like to be close to the sea. I like the vibe, I like the calming sound of the waves, I like how easy it is just to have a nice walk. And just very different from mainland UK, Birmingham, where there's not too many large bodies of water. And I like to take a bit of a dip and check out the beaches and take it easy, just have a bit of an ice cream and sit there staring at the sea. So the Odyssey Park Hotel was lovely, really nice place, clean hotel, very straightforward hotel, nothing too fancy. They did have breakfast being served in the mornings, which was rather nice. I do get a little bit bored of the same thing, or eating the same thing every single day, so they did manage to kind of switch things up a little bit. My highlights were the fresh juice that they had on tap, the omelettes that the chef was making, or you could see him make, a little bit of cereal and some pastries that were rather nice that they kind of rotated throughout our time there. Lovely food. The hotel did have a pool, which was rather nice. Didn't spend a lot of time in it, dipped my toes in and had a little bit of a paddle, nothing too exciting. Unfortunately, the weather in Agadir at the time wasn't extremely hot. It was about 22-23 degrees. I was expecting it to be hotter, especially during the summer. However, it was still a nice time and the sun did come out eventually. Unfortunately, it was the last day day we were there, so we tried to make the most of it, but it was a great time nonetheless. The hotel did also have a gym, which was really nice. It was a small gym, but it still had enough equipment and just enough space for me to work out. Did a bit of skipping, a bit of, a few pull-ups here and there, mainly bodyweight stuff. They did have a heavy bag there, which was amazing, so I managed to do a little bit of boxing, a little bit of MMA on the bag as well, which was really nice. I am really conscious going on holiday that I just don't want to sit there and do nothing. So I like the fact that they've got the facilities there to stay active. And I think there was another gentleman there when I was working out, and it was nice to have that atmosphere. You're on holiday, but you can still work out and still keep your hand in. I think for me, it's all about momentum, especially when you're exercising and training. You don't want to not exercise for a couple of weeks and then get back into the swing of things. And it's just really difficult to bring yourself back into the habit of it. So great gym, really happy with that. So one of our first excursions was to visit something called the Croco Park, and I was a bit dubious when I first booked this as to what I was going to actually find. And when we got a taxi from the hotel to the Croco Park itself, we turned up and there was this amazing entrance of a crocodile head, obviously artificial, but it was just an amazing place to take a photo. Walking inside the jaws of a crocodile to enter the Croco Park. And the Croco Park apparently opened up in 2015, so it's been there a little while, and I think it had roughly about 300 Nile crocodiles, which was just absolutely wild to find in the middle of Morocco. But that was a good time anyway. So it's like a mini zoo where you could walk around and see different types of reptiles, mainly being crocodiles, and it was cool being so close to them as well. A lot of them were just lounging around, just doing nothing, but it was pretty cool to see them hiding in the water and then slowly rising up. Thought something was just a log or a little bit of bark or whatnot in the water, and then gave it about 5-10 minutes and you could see a massive crocodile head just rising throughout the water. So it was a cool experience. There were a few crocodiles that were definitely eyeing us up, and they did look a little bit hungry. I did find it quite freaky when some of the crocodiles would be making direct eye contact with me and then slowly open up their jaws. I don't know whether it was feeding time or something, I'm not too sure, but I later found out that when crocodiles do that, when they kind of slowly open up their jaws, it's them trying to let off heat. And to be fair to them, there was a little bit of sun there, so maybe it's their thermoregulatory systems coming into play, and not the fact that I was looking a little bit juicy and well fed for them. So another one of our excursions that we took was to a private Hammam. Again, I wasn't sure what to expect. It was advertised as a kind of having a bath on the website that I booked it on, and it ended up being very similar to a Turkish bath. And I don't know if for those who've had Turkish baths, essentially they give you a good scrub down and they remove all this dead skin off the soles of your feet, off your body, and just give you generally a good wash. Yeah, it was rather nice, and it was a private one that I booked with me and the wife. Yeah, I had a really nice time. Afterwards, I felt like super relaxed, super sleepy. So needless to say, after the fact, we just had a good munch and then just went to bed. I think I need to maybe do more things like this in the future, especially routinely, just to kind of relax me. I remember one time I used to have the habit of having regular baths when I didn't have access to a bathtub. Nowadays, all these flats and whatnot, houses mainly showers. So it reminded me of that feeling after having a good hot warm bath, soaking, taking your time and not rushing around, just getting quick in and out of the shower. So great experience. My favourite excursion of the holiday was the quad biking. It was awesome. I think having the free rein to just go wild along the Agadir plains, go full throttle, was something I didn't know I was missing. I do generally like to drive. And sometimes I do drive a little bit fast, but this was a great experience to do. I did want to record my actual quad biking journey, the way they took us to and from, but I didn't have my GoPro with me, unfortunately. That would have been really good footage for this video. I was tempted to hold my camera whilst I was riding the quad bike, so a vlogging camera in one hand and then my hand on the throttle and sort of steer like that, but I thought better of it. But you know what, let's not have an accident on this holiday.
Flashback. Yo, what's happening, Juice? On a quad bike tour in Morocco. An amazing time. It's absolutely awesome. Would like to be going a little bit faster, but based on my past experiences, I've had a few accidents when I've been driving dune buggies and like quad bikes and whatnot. So I'll flash up an image of my leg here. You might be asking, why am I showing you a picture of my leg? So this was an incident in Turkey where I just went absolutely wild on a dune buggy, and they knew I wanted to go super fast. They were just like, yo, this guy is absolutely enjoying it, he's loving life, just give him a bit of space to just bomb it. Sure as hell, they put me right at the back and made me slow down for a little bit, and then just gave me at least like 500 meters to just absolutely bomb it. It was awesome until I hit a turn and there was this pesky little rock in the way, and decided to absolutely flip the dune buggy. So it flipped, turned on its side, and I rolled it basically. For just like a split second there, I did panic like for a moment, but I think I was fine after that. I just realized actually my body's intact, I'm okay. Yeah, that was totaled. Didn't run after that as well. So all the dune buggy guys, they came running over afterwards, and they were like, they checked on me first, which was very good of them, rather than the dune buggy, and then they rolled the dune buggy back over. It was like, yeah, no way, this ain't going anywhere. So I didn't actually realise I didn't injure myself until I walked back to the centre where the dune buggies were, and my brother had already reached there, so he was wondering where the hell I'd gone. Anyways, so I looked at my leg, and it was all skinned, and it felt like it was on fire. I think the nerves were exposed or something. I was on holiday with my mum and dad as well. They were not too impressed. I mean, I had a good time, I'm not gonna lie. So for the rest of the holiday, I spent it bandaged up, and yeah, I healed up within a couple of weeks, so it wasn't too bad, but quite an experience. So today, yeah, took it quite, well, a little bit slower than I would have liked, but we'll see. Tour's not finished just yet, so we're gonna see how the rest of the journey is. I get a chance to vomit and that. So the roads are pretty legit, not too rocky, not too many turns and this, that, and the quad bikes today as well. So they seem to control, and they're quite fun. Quite fun. I could see myself having one of these at home or something and just driving on some farmland and whatnot. So
end of flashback.
So the guys who organised the quad bike did have a mini stop where we had some tea and some biscuits. There was a lovely gentleman, so I believe his name was Hassan, and he was a musician. So he was serenading us as we drank our tea, our mint tea, and had some biscuits. And they very kindly let me film the inside of their settlement where they host people and have tea and coffee whilst they're having quad bike breaks, as it were. So really nice guys organising the quad bikes as well. There was a young gentleman leading our quad bike caravan, and I noticed that he had braces and he had brackets on his teeth, orthodontic brackets. So I asked him about about the dental care in Morocco, and he was kind of telling me that there are doctors that exist in the major cities, but in the villages there's not really that many people who do dentistry or do orthodontics. So he was having a little bit of trouble finding a dentist, and it was quite expensive for him as well. So it's always interesting to see the dental industry infrastructure in different countries. So but he was great. We also ended up doing a camel ride in Agadir. So again, I've ridden horses, I've ridden ponies in the past, and this was the first time riding a camel. So I think the most exciting part of it was with the camel, when I sat on the camel and it stood up, and it was like whenever we finished riding the camel and it kind of lay down. I was going to say it's a little bit bumpy, so to be expected. They did have a nice harness set up, and it wasn't too uncomfortable as the camel was kind of walking around. My camel was like bare cheeky as well, so it was probably butting its head, and I think it was definitely causing a bit of trouble with the camel behind as well. So they were sort of linked together. Yeah. So the camels were linked together and tied to each other, and my camel decided to start pooping as we were walking, and you can imagine the other camel's head being less than a meter from the other camel whilst it's doing its business. So my wife was kind of a bit amused and let me know that the camel started excreting as we were going along the journey. Also, where we got the camels from, one of the camels, we saw all the camels grazing with a few horses, and there was this one camel in particular just completely knocked out. And so I went to go check just to make sure it was alive, and the handler assured me, no, he's alive, he's just having his kid. It was quite amusing to see camels in their natural habitat. Never been so close to them. So when we visited the Atlas Mountains, we did it in a guided tour. So they took us around in 4x4s around the Atlas Mountains, and we could have regular stops just to explore the sites and have a little bit of a walk and whatnot. Now, I don't normally do well with guided tours, I'm not gonna lie. I don't like following someone around and then kind of explaining things. I like to kind of explore and do my own thing. These guys were really accommodating, so we were able to they gave us a little bit of information about the site and then just kind of let us wander around and enjoy the sights and take some photos and that type of thing. So on the tour, in our car, me and my wife, we met a slightly older couple, Geeta and Naresh. So we met Geeta and Naresh, or Nikki, and they ended up being from Birmingham, which is where I'm from. So it's such a small world when you go on holiday, and you always meet somebody that actually lives really close to you in the UK, in my experience anyway. They were really nice, and they were just telling us about all their travels, where they've been and where we should go next. But it was really nice to be with somebody who's speaking English and you could connect with, and they ended up taking a few photographs for us as well, which was really nice. So on the tour, they gave us some authentic Moroccan food, which I believe was called tagine. It was cooked really, really nicely, and the chicken was perfection, came off the bone. The taste slightly more blander than I would expect or than I'm used to, but they did have a few sauces and whatnot to kind of spice things up a touch, and it was cooked really well, and I was super hungry, so I ate as much as I could. We had some amazing views on the Atlas Mountains guided tour, took loads of photos, which I'm going to include in the vlog here. I filmed quite a bit of it as well. And we ended up visiting an amazing little village where all the buildings were kind of painted different colours, and it was quite close to the sea as well. The village was called Agadir, and it's a coastline village just outside of Agadir. Really, really quaint, really chilled out. We ended up having some argan oil consumables. I believe there was a sauce or a dip rather that kind of tasted pretty much like peanut butter, and I love Reese's, so they have made some sort of Reese's argan oil, chocolates. I would have ate those up like crazy. Unfortunately, they did not, but we did pick up a little bit of argan oil, which is quintessential Moroccan souvenir. On the tour as well, we saw kids' schools up in the mountains, and these schools, you could tell, were like really, really small. The one building in the kids' class you could see was about like 20 maximum, so it was just amazing to see how big cities like Agadir and Marrakesh, we've still got these villages or Bedouin villages in between, where these villagers still are living in and amongst themselves, and you can tell they don't really visit the cities too much. They were super excited to see us when we drove past, so lots of kids waving and jumping around. Some of the tour guides had some sweets for them and some toys. It would have been nice to bring something for them had we known they were going to be there, but it was really nice to see. They were super duper friendly as well. So we also visited a Moroccan market, the Souk Al-Had, which is the biggest market in Agadir. Again, I'm not much of a shopper, so when I go to these types of places, I don't tend to buy much. I remember visiting Tokyo in Japan, where I went to the shopping district, basically, the biggest shopping district in the whole of Tokyo. I didn't buy a single thing. I think I walked into about 30 shops, and the Japanese, being very service oriented, they would come in and sort of follow me around the shop just to see if I wanted anything or to try anything. And the poor guys, I didn't pick up a single item. I think I walked around 30 shops, just had a mooch, just had a nosy, and just walked straight back out again. It was kind of like a similar experience in the Souk Al-Had, where I was kind of eyeing things up and not really buying anything. I was with my wife, who wanted to pick up a few things for the family members, which was cool, and I ended up getting something for my little brother as well. I ended up getting him a thobe, which was like a Moroccan style thobe, and these are generally what they're traditional Moroccan clothing, traditional Arabic clothing, and it's something I wear when I pray, and he wears when he prays as well, so something useful. Craziest thing I saw in the Souk Al-Had was somebody selling turtles. I think somebody just screamed turtles at me. Turtle! Turtle! And I just kind of, my head whipped around, and I was just shocked to see basically a crate full of turtles. I initially had a thought that would be a cool idea, and then I thought to myself, hang on a second, how the hell am I going to get the turtle on a plane through custom? And the thought was like, you know what, maybe not, we're not going to do that, not today. Now, when I go on holiday, I love my food. Like, I need to eat, I need to have a variety of food, and I always tie a great holiday to eating great food. So in Morocco, I was happy that I'd had some traditional Moroccan food on our Atlas Mountain store, but I wanted to eat the best food that they had in the best restaurants that they had. We ended up having Italian, we ended up having some sushi, we ended up having burgers as well, and we tried to find the best restaurants by looking at Google Maps and seeing the highest reviewed places with those 5 stars. So our favorite restaurant that we found was a place called the Jade Restaurant, which was very close to the sea, and they served amazing sushi. They had quite an interesting dessert as well. I believe it was like a matcha lava cake. Interesting taste, but it was a nice idea, and you could tell they were really, going for like a high-end feel. But the sushi at that place was absolutely amazing. Another place we were trying to get to was a place called Soma Sushi, and when we tried to get there the first few times, our taxi driver just didn't know where it was, and they ended up taking us somewhere completely different. And this poor guy went to about 5 different sushi places in the center of Agadir trying to find this Soma Sushi, and failed every single time. At the end, we just kind of gave up and just said to him, you know what, we're really hungry, we're just going to hop out and go to this nice Italian place. And he was so disappointed. Poor guy. I gave him an extra tip just to be like, don't worry about it, we're still going to eat tonight, it's not really the world. But we ended up taking this, going into this nice Italian place where I had some spaghetti bolognese, and my wife had a pizza, and that was really nice. And yeah, a really nice dining experience there as well. We also visited a really nice coffee shop in the marina, a place called Espresso Lab, and it was very akin to like a Costa or Starbucks or something like that, and it had a nice place to sit outside. So me and the wife got she got a nice coffee and a milkshake or something, and we just reading my book and staring at looking out into the sea, and we did that for a couple of hours or so. That was really nice, really relaxing. So it was a great experience. During our time in Morocco, we also visited a nice museum, and it was a heritage museum which had some art in it as well. So I went round with my wife and just had a good look at the art, and it's something I've started doing on holidays as well, just kind of seeing what the country has to offer in terms of art and reviewing the art and kind of my interpretation of it as well. So I did like a few pieces that I found. Normally it is something of the sea or nice piece that's been painted, some really nice scenery. I'm not much into kind of people, but it's more into sort of places that I really like. So when I go to Muslim countries or any country that I visit, I always try to find a mosque or a place to pray, and I ended up praying in a place called Mohammed V or Mohammed V Masjid. So this is a beautiful masjid, and I ended up going for Friday prayers there as well. With Friday prayers definitely had more people attend, otherwise it was quite quiet when I went for the evening prayers in the weekday, but they closed off some of the masjid whilst I was there praying. It would have been nice to go have a bit of a walk around, but I respected the fact that they didn't really have anyone giving, it wasn't a place to really tour at the time. Agadir has many masjids, so many mosques. The biggest mosques are Mohammed V Mosque, and Lebanon Mosque, and the Great Mosque of Agadir. It was really cool that the Mohammed V Mosque was within walking distance of my hotel, so it just took me like 10-20 minutes to go for a bit of a walk before the evening prayers. They had nice wiggle facilities there, so we could wash pretty quickly, pretty easily. So the doors that I normally entered the mosque in, they ended up closing. So I had to look around the mosque for another exit. So I found another set of doors which I went through, and I ended up seeing this really nice fancy dessert place. So I made note of that, and we ended up visiting that place afterwards. So it was a bit of a happy accident we found that place. And that place was like a French patisserie place. Me and my wife went there, I think the day we were leaving, and we ended up getting, we chose like 2 desserts each that we both shared. That was sugar overload. I think she never had her heart rate go that high because she ate that much sugar. So that was a really interesting moment. I mean, I was content to enjoy the food on my holiday. So really nice dessert pieces. Probably wouldn't have them too often. But overall, my experience of Agadir was really, really nice. Super relaxing holiday, really nice food places, chilled out vibe. I think before I went, the most I knew about Morocco was about the football player Hakimi. So this kind of filled in the gaps about Morocco, with what Morocco was like and what the vibe was like. Did have some surfing booked before I went, but unfortunately the waves weren't amazing, and the surfing guy decided it wasn't the time to go surfing. So next time, definitely want to do some surfing. We get on some jet skis. That would be pretty badass. Overall, it was a really nice time where I was able to take stock of things, revitalize, and kind of just reflect, read a few books, and reflect upon a few goals, and think about things. It makes you really grateful of your time in the UK and the facilities that we have here, how easy it is to go about your day-to-day life and be a practicing Muslim in the UK without too much stress, a lot of food and whatnot. But it has ignited my love of quad biking, so I do get my hands on a quad bike. And maybe in the UK we'll see what happens. I know you get a few interesting characters running around on quad bikes on the roads. But if they're street legal or not, who knows? We'll see what happens. Yeah, get yourselves over to Agadir, and I think this is pretty cool. I might start filming a few more holiday vlogs or myself out and about, some non-dental related stuff. We'll see. Awesome guys, thank you so much for watching, and yeah, leave me a comment about where I should go on holiday next. Have you guys been to Morocco? Have you been to Agadir? What was your experience? Where I should go on holiday next? Should I go to Marrakesh? Should I go to a completely different country? Let me know. See you later guys. Bye.